Hey, I'm Dark North. In this video, I'll be talking about some tips to clear floor 12 of the new 2.1 Spiral Abyss. Before I start, just a quick reminder that the stars you get on a floor get locked at the highest stars achieved. So if you get 3 stars once on a chamber, it's going to be locked at that until Abyss reset. If after that you get 1 or 2 stars or no stars at all, it will still remain as 3 stars if you have cleared with that once. This means you can focus on one chamber at a time and change team comps or swap the teams from one side to the other, or make sure you have all of your bursts charged up before going to the next chamber. So let's start with chamber 1. For the first half, we have a bunch of Nobushi and treasure hoarders. So the tip to get a faster clear here is to use anime characters with crowd control. So Venti, Kazuha, Sucrose, Jean, and even anime main character are all good for this. That's pretty much the only tip to get a faster clear, apart from just do more damage. For the second half, if you're having trouble with the Spectres and the Eye of the Wind, as you cannot actually crowd control these with anime characters, the only way to crowd control these is petrify with Zhongli or use freeze. So you can use freeze teams here, or just have freeze on your team to immobilize them for some time to do enough damage to the Eye of the Wind before it flies up in the air. If you're still having trouble, you can use ranged characters like Bow or Catalyst users to hit the Eye of the Wind even if it goes up in the air. For the second way, focus on the Lava Trill, as the Spectres will follow you and take collateral damage. You can break the Lava Trill shield with Claymore hits or doing geo damage. Now let's move on to chamber 2. For the first half, we have Magu Kenki, who has a 1.6 million HP. It's basically just a massive DPS check, and one of the tips here is that when you bring his HP down by 1/4, he'll go invulnerable for a period of time and you won't be able to do any damage to him, and he'll do this downward thrust. And you can iframe this with a dodge or use a shield or use your burst as an iframe. After this, he's going to start summoning his clones and he's going to dash backwards from time to time, which is why you want to have the Magu Kenki in between you and the wall, so that even if he dashes, he doesn't dash too far and you can predict where he's going to go. Single target DPS characters shine here, but you can use AoE characters as long as your DPS is high enough. Now let's talk about the second half, which is Cryo Assistant Mage and Mirror Maiden. Very nasty combination and can freeze lock you if you're not careful. If you are planning on CCing the Mirror Maiden, keep in mind to not get marked by her, because if you do, she will become invulnerable to being crowd controlled and you're gonna have a much harder time. Make sure to also bring a pyro character here to break the Cryo Assistant Mage shield, unless you can keep her stun locked or crowd controlled, or if you can just kill her flies to break her shield and then proceed to kill her quickly. Now let's move on to the last chamber. We have chamber 3, first half. We have the return of the 2 Ruin Guards from the previous Abyss floors, but not the annoying Geo ley lines, so it's a bit easier to deal with. They're essentially just walking HP sponges, both of them having around 650,000 HP. So it's just another DPS check. As the Ruin Guards have very basic moveset and the attacks are very predictable, you shouldn't have any problem dodging them, and you can also just iframe with your dodge or your burst iframe. They have 70% physical resistance, so either avoid using physical characters or make sure you can reduce the resistance enough to be able to DPS check them. You can also use an archer to hit their weak spot, which is their eyes or their back at the spot where they launch their missiles, but this only works when they are launching missiles and will not work normally. This way you can immobilize them to have a slightly easier time killing them. For a second half, we have Mechanical Array with a base HP of 2.2 million, and the cruiser / destroyer that it spawns have around 400,000-ish HP, and the scout and defender it spawns has around 580,000-ish HP. So depending on which one of these that you have to kill to bring it into its weakened phase, you might have a faster or a slower run. So there's a bit of RNG here that you may have to retry for unless you get lucky, especially if you're close to reaching 9 stars. The boss also goes invulnerable when he phase changes, so that's a DPS loss, and it can also just fly up and avoid all of your attacks, and this has happened to me a lot and I've missed my burst a lot of times, which is very annoying. If you haven't fought this boss before, how it works is after some time or after you reach an HP threshold, which is around 25%, it will become invulnerable and it will spawn its minions. And you have to defeat the one which has a yellow ring around it and an HP bar, and after you defeat that, it will go into a weakened state where it takes increased damage. this is your time to burst him down. The array also has 70% physical resistance like other ruined machines, so keep that in mind. Again, single target cactus here are very good, and pretty much any other team that can hit the DPS check, as you have to deal around 2.6 to 2.8 million damage in time. That's it for this video. I hope that was helpful to some of you all. If you have any questions, you can leave them down below and I'll try my best to answer. If you want to see more content like this, be sure to subscribe to the channel. We are very close to hitting 200 subs, so I would really appreciate it if you care to drop one. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.